Hello everybody! So today marks a special day because we have owned one of the very first 2026 Toyota RAV4s for a little over 3 months. It's hard to believe how fast time flies, and we have a lot to update you guys on.
So do we have big problems or any regrets to share? Well, let's go ahead and dive in.
We're going to be talking about several things in this video because even though 3 months isn't all that long, it is still plenty of time to really get a good feel for a vehicle.
Yeah, and we're going to be dividing this into 5 different categories. First of all, we'll start with the problems, then we'll talk about our biggest likes and dislikes, the overall cost to own, and any recalls that we've experienced, and then fifth and finally, our overall ownership experience. Let's get to it.
Let's start with the problems. Now, we review cars for a living, so being nitpicky is something we have to be really good at doing and noticing all the details. So while these aren't all big problems, we do want to report them to you guys with full transparency so that you can decide if you want to buy a RAV4 or not. Let's head inside. Now, the first issue is kind of a bit of deja vu if you followed our 2025 long-term Toyota Camry content, and that is persistent tech problems. This worked well with the all-new Toyota infotainment system for about the first week that we owned it, and then after that we began to have issues that kept popping up. So this system has wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but we've been having Bluetooth issues where those systems would not connect. This got particularly bad when we all three upgraded our phones to the newest iPhone and the newest Samsung Galaxy. After that happened and we repaired to the new devices, we would not be able to connect without manually going into the system. And in the case of my Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra, it would not connect at all to Android Auto, even when directly plugged in with a USB. I would be plugged in with the USB connection inside of here with, by the way, a Toyota wire designed specifically for the car, and it would still say connect with a USB. Very strange overall with that performance. Now, we have reset the system numerous times to the factory defaults, and the issues might be resolved for a little while, but they keep coming back. And we use these same phones in all types of different vehicles, including our 2027 Kia Telluride and all the numerous testers that we test out on a daily basis. So overall, it's very finicky. Now, other than that, we have enjoyed using the system. We like the new design of the software, although you do have to subscribe to some of the features like navigation. One of the things we really like is the fact that you can now put Google Maps actually into the gauge cluster.
Now, aside from that phone connectivity problem, we've had another very odd problem that we noticed as we lived with this vehicle. So when you get in and start it up, everything is normal for a few seconds, but about 10 seconds after startup, after you hear all those beeps and such, you hear this very high-pitched squeal, and it lasts for about 3 seconds, and it actually hurts mine and Drew's ears. Now, Josh can't hear it, but we have noticed that certain people with pretty sensitive ears can really hear this high-pitched squeal going on. Now, before you write me off as crazy and just hearing things, we did have the chance to talk to the lead engineer for the all-new Lexus ES. Now, why is that important? Well, this RAV4 and the Lexus ES are the 2 Toyotas on the market right now that have 5G connectivity. And he says that that high-pitched squeal we're hearing is related to the DCM 5G module on these newest Toyota and Lexus products. And he says they're aware of the issue and they will be releasing a software update for the RAV4. Now, we do not have that software update just yet, but the Lexus ES actually was never affected because they went ahead and fixed it before it was launched. And before we get into the rest of the problems, we want to remind you if you're looking to buy a Toyota RAV4 or any vehicle to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. The reason you should do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool to use if you plan on doing dealership negotiation. You can find a link to that down below in our video description, as well as things like a monthly payment calculator on there.
Now, during our 3,600 miles of driving this RAV4, we did also notice a couple rattles. That's not particularly uncommon for an all-new vehicle like this RAV4. The first one, we believe, is a very faint rattle that's coming from a little bit above the main infotainment screen. The other one is much louder, and we believe that's coming from the tailgate area. It's a little bit weather dependent. When it's hotter, it seems like it rattles a bit more. And we think it could possibly be related to the tailgate alignment. So if you look at this RAV4, you can see that the tailgate's a little misaligned over here on this right-hand side in particular. You can see that I can actually stick my finger into this gap. Normally, this would be maybe a little bit of a tighter gap, so the rattle could be related to that. We don't know yet. We're going to be working with the dealership to try to figure out exactly where that rattle is coming from and if we can get this tailgate a little bit closer aligned.
And that's all of the problems that we've experienced so far. So nothing major mechanically or anything like that. So that's very good. And let's go ahead and get into our biggest likes and dislikes with this new RAV4 3 months later and 3,500 miles later. Now, I popped the hood because our biggest like about this new RAV4 is this right here, the powertrain experience. This is a biggie, obviously. You know, you buy a RAV4 really wanting that great powertrain experience, and this new generation certainly delivers on that. It's a standard hybrid system, and it gets absolutely fantastic fuel economy. It's rated at 42 miles per gallon combined, but across our 3,500 miles of driving, we've been getting over 44 mpg, so it's better than the EPA rating. In addition to that, they've made it quieter as compared to other generations of this hybrid system, and really the power is also quite good at 236 horsepower. Most of the rivals are sitting under 200 horsepower, right at that 200 mark, and this with the all-electric torque definitely gets us up to speed in a satisfying way. Now on the flip side, let's go to our biggest dislike, and that is going to be the cheap materials inside of this cabin. Now yes, we knew that it had cheap materials when we bought this car, so yes, that's not a big surprise to us. But I will say it's continuously bothered us in our 3 months of owning this vehicle, because when you do things like, oh, say let's roll the window down and put my arm up here, this is all a super hard touch plastic. Your elbow goes numb almost instantly. And then this panel here is very cheap for your arm to go in, and everything just is very scratchy inside of this cabin. You know, that may not matter to a lot of you guys, but for us, where we're constantly in a lot of the rivals like the Volkswagen Tiguan, the Honda CR-V, the Kia Sportage, the Hyundai Tucson, all of those rivals have much nicer cabins that feel more worth the price point.
Now, one positive of the materials used is the fact that everything feels made to be abused. There's nothing fragile, there's nothing that's easy to stain. As a matter of fact, it seems like Toyota really put a lot of thought into things like that. For example, when we come to the back here, the way this bumper is shaped with the matte plastic lines up almost exactly with a shopping cart. So you could bank a shopping cart off of this. I would fully expect you wouldn't be putting any lasting damage on your RAV4, and it's just kind of made for that family friendliness. Now back to the dislike side of things, we're going to say it's the exterior design of this XLE Premium. Now there's a lot of different trim levels you can get on this vehicle, but we think the XLE Premium specifically doesn't have the best exterior look. It's certainly going to be on the boring side of things in general. And specifically when you're thinking about the price point, it just doesn't look like it costs $40,000.
Now back with our third like about the RAV4. I actually just had my first child. He's 5 months old at this point, and the space is certainly something we appreciate. You have 69 cubic feet of cargo capacity, which has been enough to put all of his stuff in the back and still have plenty of space for the rest of the family. Also, the rear seats are quite good for having car seats installed. Now, another thing we really like is how comfortable the suspension and the seats are here in the RAV4. These seats are so much more comfortable than our previous 2025 Toyota Camry. Also, the suspension, they've done a better job of balancing the sporty character while still making it very comfortable for long road trips.
Now the next section is recalls. This is going to be a very simple section. There are no recalls on the 2026 RAV4. We were just talking, we believe it might be the only vehicle we've ever owned that didn't have a recall in the first few months with the all-new product. So that's really a good sign. Now let's move to cost to own. Now we talked already about that we've been 3,600 miles with this product, and as far as maintenance, of course, Toyota does cover your maintenance for 2 years and 24,000 miles. We have not reached the point where you go in for the first maintenance, which is a tire rotation at 5,000 miles, and then you have your oil change, the first one, at 10,000 miles. Now as far as insurance costs are concerned, they're okay with this product. About $1,800 per year, which is $154 a month for us. It does, for some reason, cost more than Kenzie's GV80, which is a bit weird, but you know how insurance is. It's very unpredictable and it varies based on a lot of different characteristics. The other thing I want to mention is the cost to fuel this. Because it gets such exceptionally good fuel economy, 44.7 miles per gallon average over these 3,600 miles, we've spent only about $304 on fuel if you count $3.80 as the average gas price that we paid in our area. Now this has a 14.5 gallon fuel tank, which means that this is able to travel over 600 miles on a single fill up. And lastly, there was one repair impacting our cost to own, and that was a nail in the tire, which only cost $25 to get fixed.
So now we pretty much hit everything to talk about in the first 3 months and 3,500 miles, and we're going to talk about our overall ownership. So are we still liking the RAV4? Well, absolutely, we are still liking the RAV4. It really excels in the areas that matter most to this type of buyer, to be honest with you guys. The powertrain experience, the fuel economy, the space, the comfort, all of those things this RAV4 has done really exceptionally well in the first 3 months that we've owned it. Now, would we buy it again? Yes, absolutely we would. But I would say that we definitely consider some of the other rivals and some of the features that they include at this price point. You know, some of the vehicles that we've had on loan certainly have more features, a better quality cabin, and also kind of look a little bit more expensive on the outside. But if those are the things that don't matter as much to you, the RAV4 is an excellent choice. I'd also say we might look at a different trim level as well. This XLE Premium, I don't think is the best value in the lineup. And guys, that's all for our 3-month ownership update of this all-new 2026 Toyota RAV4. Now, if you're at all interested in this RAV4, I probably don't even have to tell you this, but you should subscribe to this channel. The reason being is because we already have a ton of RAV4 content already live that you will want to check out. We also will have much more RAV4 content coming up soon as we own it at 6 months, a year, and you want to follow along to make sure that this is going to be a good vehicle for you to purchase for your family. So do yourself a favor and subscribe down below. And if you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support. You make this all possible, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.